What's going on? Brian Tong here, and this is a first look and first impressions of Google's new Pixel 10 Pro, Pixel 10 Pro XL, Pixel 10 Pro Fold, and their new Pixel Snap accessories. I got some early hands-on time in New York, and then I came right back. So I won't be showing you every single feature, but the stuff that stood out to me with my hands-on session. So let's see what the Pixel is cooking up this year. First up, let's talk about the lineup. And from a design standpoint, when you're talking about the Pixel 10 Pro and 10 Pro XL cosmetically, they are basically the same, so we won't take too much time to talk about that. It's the same two display sizes at 6.3 inches for the 10 Pro and 6.8 inches for the 10 Pro XL. Same screen resolutions, same 120Hz variable refresh rate, same design with the polished aluminum frame and the Gorilla Glass Victus 2 on the front, and then the silky matte version on the back with the same camera bar and IP68 water resistance. The biggest design changes would be an even brighter display at 2,200 nits for HDR and a peak brightness of 3,300 nits, which is the brightest smartphone display that I know of at the moment. Camera-wise, you're still getting a high-quality 50 megapixel wide, 48 megapixel ultra wide, and 48 megapixel telephoto with 5x optical and up to a 100x ProRes zoom. And arguably the best photos in the industry with its natural photo processing. One of the other hardware improvements it brings are improved speakers for better sound, and the biggest internal upgrade is for the Pixel 10 Pro XL only. That model gets Qi 2.2 support, which means wireless charging at up to 25 watts, which gets you about 70% battery in 30 minutes with the 45-watt charger, compared to the 10 Pro, which has Qi 2, that's up to 15 watts charging and gets 55% in 30 minutes with a 30-watt charger, and that is wireless charging that we're talking about. That is a nice incremental upgrade, but when I say the 10 Pro and 10 Pro XL are about the same cosmetically, they are pretty much the same as before. Inside, you'll have Google's latest Tensor G5 processor in the entire Pro lineup with 16 gigs of memory on both models and the Fold, which powers all of its AI features, and it's the most advanced on-device AI on a phone. So let's get practical and try to show you some of these new features for the 10 series. This is really going to be the smartest phone when it comes to knowing about you and what is going on in your life, and it starts with what they call Magic Q. It's personalized suggestions that pulls from all the personal information on your phone. So here's some examples. We're gonna start on the Messages app, and forgive me for some of my video shooting here. Here's an example of someone asking about a dinner reservation in New York, and you'll see that colored circle response that's referencing Copelia that it knows from your email. Later, Victoria asks if you're free tomorrow, and instead of you jumping to another app, it already suggests the calendar app to see for yourself. Logan asks, what is Ben's number? And again, you see the highlighted circle that pulls that information from your phone already before you even have a moment to answer, so it knows these things. Now this is a cool one that asks, can you send photos from the mountain biking trip? And the photos from that trip with that person show up. Another one, this is super helpful, where someone asked, can you call United to change our trip? The prompt shows up to make the call, but then Magic Q pulls up your actual reservation info that you can see and tell the customer service rep without you having to leave the app and go hunting for it. And these are all examples Google showed me, and of course, we're gonna have to live with this, but it's already more promising with how it connects all the dots for the things happening in my life that I wanna know and get access to easily. So I was already impressed. Now here's another example. We're in the weather app now, and it knows based on my calendar that the person has a Sweeney Ridge Trail hike on that calendar. You click on it and then click in the area it's located, which is Pacifica, and it gives you the forecast for the hike on that day. And then when you click on it, you get more details for how to prepare. Another feature here is your Daily Hub, which you swipe left from your home screen to get to the Discover page, and then you'll see Daily Hub in that top left corner. When you hit that, you can see the weather for that day and daily events that are all lined up. You'll see recommendations like podcasts and music pulled from third-party apps and your preferences. And if you're an NBA fan like me, and if you're curious about player diets, you can find things like this. But this is just an example of how the new Magic Q feature will actually make a difference with how we use our phones. I love all that day-to-day stuff in Messages, but Google continues to impress me with AI-level features that make our experience easier and more useful for the techies and the general consumer. So This next part that I want to show you is a hard demo to show off, but I'm going to try at least to give you a sense of one of their new features that sticks out to me, voice translate. I was in the same room with two phones, so I tried my best here, but what's fascinating is voice translate. That is really a near real-time translation that also uses the sound of your voice to then create what you said to another person in another language. So I have Aisha and Jeff here to help out, at least try to give you a sense of the demo, even if this is a little rough.
Call is translated by Google AI. In each speaker's voice, audio is not saved.
And then Jeff will hear the same thing in Japanese on his end. Hey Jeff, how's it going?
Yeah, Jeff, 調子はどう？
アイシャさん元気よ。あなたは元気ですか？
How are you, mister? Are you feeling better now?
I'm doing super well. I'm so excited to be in New York and I'm excited for the weekend. Do you have any big plans for the weekend?
週末も楽しみです。週末に何か大きな予定はありますか？
週末はね、新しいピクセル10シリーズを見に行きます。とても楽しんでいます。
I'm gonna see the new Pixel 10 series. I'm really looking forward to it.
Nice, me too. Okay, well, I will see you soon. I'm excited for us to see each other next week.
来週お会いできるのが楽しみです。
またね。
またね. See you later.
Okay, so I did have to cut it here and there, but I hope you got a sense of it. That's just a really cool sample for you of what it can do. Now, this can also capture voice, tone, your pace, inflections, and I think it will absolutely be one of the more talked about features. So I tried it with Spanish and the translation was a whole lot faster, almost near real time, which made it hard to capture in the same room, but just bear with us and check out this clip to get a sense of how fast it is and then hear that inflection at the end. I'm going to hit voice translate. We're going to go to choose Spanish, which is selected. I'm gonna hit done. So I'm here in New York. I don't get to come here out that often, but I love basketball. It's so fun.
No puedo venir aquí tan a menudo, pero me encanta el baloncesto. Es muy divertido y emocionante y espero poder ver un partido de baloncesto muy pronto. Creo que la temporada de la WNBA está sucediendo ahora mismo. Entonces, ¿puedes decirme cuándo será el próximo partido?
So you can see, this is really impressive, and yes, it would have been easier in separate rooms. Now, with Japanese as the language, that structure is different and has to almost be rebuilt when it's translated, so it takes a little more time to create the response. Voice translate, from what I saw, was impressive, especially when we weren't trying to capture it on camera at the same time. It still can and will get better. There are a few times maybe it jumbled up the words, but like all new features, I think this is going to be one of the wow features that doesn't exist on any other phone right now like this. So you got to check it out. All right. The Pixel 10 Pro will start at $999 and the 10 Pro XL will start at $1,199 with 256 gigs of storage and goes up depending on your capacity. That gets up to 1 terabyte of storage. Okay, if we're talking Pixel, Google also brings a whole new ecosystem of accessories with what they are calling Pixel Snap. It's similar to Apple's MagSafe, and they have everything from this magnetic ring stand that attaches magnetically, and you can rotate it around to whatever position you want in hand. It's just a classy, elegant piece that complements the polished aluminum frame and shares some of the DNA with the Pixel tablet case. You also have the Pixel charger that looks a lot like a MagSafe charger, charges up to 25 watts wirelessly, but there is also a stand combo that you can connect either the Pixel 10 phones or even the 10 Pro Fold. Here's a cool example of an open Pixel 10 Pro Fold. You see the cool animation on screen, and then it goes to its Photos screensaver after a few moments while it's docked. I love that. The Pixel 10 series phones also all work with the MagSafe accessories. That's right, Apple MagSafe that you already have. Now, we showed off the Pixel 10 Pro Fold here. Let's talk about it, right? What's different? And again, design-wise, the changes are very slight and subtle, but there is a little difference. In hand, it feels the same. But they have redesigned the hinge, which has allowed the outer display to get slightly larger to 6.4 inches versus the 6.3 from the previous 9 Pro Fold. It's also a brighter display with up to 2000 nits brightness with HDR and then a peak brightness of 3000 nits. The inner display is still 8 inches. The thickness of the device is actually slightly thicker by 0.1 millimeters when unfolded at 5.2 millimeters compared to the 5.1 on the previous 9 Pro Fold. It's also slightly thicker closed as well, but you can't really feel it. Now, it's more durable with IP68 support on a foldable. That's great. It's more durable from drops with what Google says can also support 10 plus years of folding based on internal tests. And its triple camera remains the same with a 48 megapixel wide, 10.5 ultra wide, and 10.8 telephoto with a 5x optical and 20x ProRes zoom. From a feature standpoint, what's new here? Well, the camera app has a new feature called Instant View, and as you start taking photos, it will show you your recently taken shots right alongside your viewfinder, and you can scroll up and down to select the picture you want and then edit it from the camera app, all with that larger screen. Now, another improvement is Made You Look, which uses the outer screen to get the attention of young ones or very distracted adults to take pictures. There's a whole lot of new animations here, like the ones that you see. They're fun, but yeah, it's a way to get people's attention. There's also multitasking between apps where you can drag and drop a photo into something like the Messages app. Then you have a lot more flexibility now to how far you can split the screen, and you can just tap a smaller app for it to take over the whole screen while having the other app still active, and you can tap back and forth on each side to switch between the two apps. Right now it's limited to 2 apps. Also, you can swipe on that bottom bar to move between your available apps. And then if you have a pair of apps that you like to use together, you can start with something like Chrome, and then you can go and add the Photos app. Then swipe up from the bottom bar where you can save it as an app pair and then save it to your home screen, so you can make a home screen shortcut for those apps that you like working with in pairs and jump to it at any time. Now, the Pixel 10 Pro Fold will start at $1,799 with 256 gigs of storage and also goes up to 1 terabyte. There are some new colors for this year's Pro lineup. Pixel 10 Pro and 10 Pro XL come in this new bluish moonstone color. The light green is jade, and then you got the classic obsidian and porcelain colors. Pixel 10 Pro Fold comes in just jade and obsidian. But that's gonna do it for my first look and first impressions of the new Pixel 10 Pro lineup and their Pixel Snap accessories. Again, Google continues to impress us with how they're using on-device AI features that are practical, and I can't wait to really get into using them on a daily basis. The hardware doesn't change that much, and they had what was my favorite phone design for 2025, but this is really an under-the-hood year with more AI features that no other platform has, and again, they are setting the pace for what the consumer can experience on a phone with AI. It's a nice year of feature progress for them, not really hardware, because phones really have matured so much, and that's where we're at. A lot of the innovation is happening with features and software, but they can't keep the same hardware design for next year, all right? My strong assumption is that they won't, especially when it comes to competing in the foldable space. Yeah, you can't do that. So come on back to the channel. Hey, I'll have more in-depth content and coverage of the entire new Pixel 2025 lineup to come once I get a chance to live with these phones for a little while and really experience them. But until then, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace and love.